Arguably Madden's biggest problem, really for most editions since acquiring the exclusive license way back 12 years ago now, has been that the games and the features within have been just okay. Most editions were very vanilla products meant to appeal to the widest audience possible and protect the image of the league. EA Sports played things safe and the games were simply uninspiring, with the vision for the series changing every 2 or 3 years. Blame can certainly be split between the NFL and EA Sports for the end result. Madden NFL 17, however, does excel in a number of areas. There's clear consistency in place from the development team, and the gameplay is as fun and satisfying as ever before. What the dev team at Tiburon did this year was to improve upon areas that have been long overdue for attention, while still enhancing and better balancing the various aspects in which they've made positive strides in recent years. Special teams. I've been talking about this for what must be a decade now. How could a series meant to represent NFL football completely ignore a third of the game? How could EA open with an intro video in Madden 10 that features the Saints' surprise onside kick from the Super Bowl and yet not give people the ability to actually attempt one in the game? Why do punts always bounce into the end zone? Why even have extra points in Madden when they're automatic? Why are long field goals so easy to make? Why are game-changing plays like blocked field goals and punts not even really a factor in Madden?
Field goal.
Oh, no! Shankopotamus!
Well, that could be a critical miss
Yes.
here in a one-score game of the
Just
fourth.
gotta get in range. Let's do it.
Well, with the exception of surprise onsides, which unfortunately are still not in with Madden NFL 17, these type of questions and more have been answered. It has made Madden much more unpredictable, and that's a tremendous achievement for any sports game which releases on an annual basis. This Madden is dramatically different from the last one, for special teams, as well as aspects like the commentary. Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis have thankfully taken over for Phil Simms and Jim Nantz. It's immediately evident that they have good chemistry and record in the same room. The audio flows naturally. It's generally relevant and even provides some explanation of why things are happening and ways to make adjustments. It's remarkable how good the commentary is for this just being the first year. Even more impressive are the commentary updates EA is planning to do with the duo regularly throughout the season, and we already have a few examples of that coming out of preseason week 1.
All right, partner, well, we have a second. A lot of people want to talk rookie quarterbacks early on. What have you seen?
The usual. They're going to be ups and downs. Jared Goff with the Rams, Carson Wentz with the Eagles. Both of them a little bit shaky and both sustained injuries. Connor Cook surprised people and played well in Oakland. But how about Javon Boykin in Seattle? He was phenomenal coming back in and leading them to a victory.
And Charles, a little random sidebar, but it ties in with the NFL. One of the coolest things the first weekend of exhibition games was when the Ravens tuned into the Olympics.
Certainly did. They stopped the game. Everyone watched the big screen to see Michael Phelps go for the gold in the 200-meter swim. Baltimore-born man, and he got it done.
Yeah, it was a special, very cool moment. And leading the Rams out there, of course, the rookie Jared Goff already had a hold-your-breath moment in the first preseason game with his shoulder, but he's okay.
Took a big hit, jammed his shoulder, but they think he's going to be okay, as you already noted. But what a debut for him, right? Gets hit, throwing the ball, gives up a pick six. Welcome to the NFL, young man. But they expect big things from him before the season is over.
Now, last year, EA attacked a weakness in the gameplay by giving receivers the ability to make the aggressive catch. The battle between pass catchers and defenders for the ball was finally present. Many people thought aggressive catching was a little overpowered, however, and it's definitely been tailed back this year. It can still be successful, but you're going to need a formula that includes maybe an accurate quarterback, an explosive, spectacular catch-type receiver, and single coverage, or maybe the rare case of beating double coverage. It does seem like there are maybe too many dropped passes in general, though, particularly receivers being unable to hang on whenever they're hit, but I'm chalking that up to balancing out completion percentages just a bit. Ideally, there would be more throws that are off target instead, either slightly or drastically. There's definitely a sense of more fluidity to the gameplay, particularly in player movement and more realistic looking animations. It immediately stood out to me just how crisp and effective routes are being run by players with a great rating in that attribute, for example. But even just in the open field as a ball carrier, the amount of control feels really good. The ball carrier moves are fun to execute and they can be pretty effective. Defenders need to be sure tacklers or they're going to be made to look foolish, whether it's broken tackles or whiffing on a spin and juke moves. Teammates play through the whistle, though, and will continue to pursue and assist in taking the ball carriers down. Something to monitor will be the rate of fumbles. It has seemed maybe abnormally high. I don't want necessarily fumbles to be toned down that much if it's found to be the case. We've had enough of Madden where fumbles were rare and felt completely random. But it could get a little out of control, it seems like, with how things are now if you have games with longer quarters. The defensive AI improvements are considerable, though I suspect it's going to take some time to really appreciate what has been done or discover that it's still lacking in certain areas. There are at least better options to counter opposing tactics than in the past. This is maybe where competitions like the Madden Challenge actually prove beneficial, as anyone who watched the esports events for Madden 16 saw something that clearly wasn't real football being played. But in order to force people into playing the right way and utilize real coaching strategies, each side of the ball has to have the capability to influence the thinking of the other. I do have to note that there's a bug currently that allows you to discover whether the opposing team is in a run or a pass play. So that's obviously not good. This is expected to be patched, though, very soon. Otherwise, the game is released with far fewer pressing issues than last year. Though I'm not really a fan of the presentation of the starting offensive and defensive units, in total the visual presentation is much improved this year. The reliance on impossible to get camera angles is far less than in the past. That's been replaced by a focus more on coaches, plus things like having a pylon cam sprinkled in. In the right situation, the pylon cam is a fantastic perspective and it fits in perfectly. Unfortunately, it doesn't always trigger when it should, and many other times it appears only to show the legs of a player who are running right by it. An under-the-radar feature for Madden 17 is the press to skip option, which, yeah, I know it doesn't sound exciting, but it actually really does make a difference. This allows for a considerable reduction in the unskippable sequences and replays, some of which were forced on you before. People who would prefer to watch those things play out, they can, but those who want to get back to the action as soon as possible are able to do so. I found it also reduces the number of inadvertent selections when you're just trying to button mash through things, but I still end up accidentally selecting a play from time to time that I didn't mean to do. One issue that seems to carry over from Madden to Madden is that more often than not, booth reviews aren't triggering automatically when they should be. All scoring plays and all turnovers are reviewed in real life. Of course, that really only comes into play when they're close. Plus, plays under 2 minutes in the half. But you're too often left wondering if the refs actually got it right in Madden. It would be nice to simply have confirmation, and that would again add to the authenticity of the experience. So franchise mode didn't get the dramatic makeover some were maybe expecting, and it still carries with it features that weren't received all that well, like drive goals. Relatively minor isolated on their own, the other improvements do enhance the journey of playing through seasons in the mode. The in-game ticker is a big one, providing scores and stats from around the league. Practice squads. And this has actually mattered due to some serious injuries being encountered. Though maybe there are too few injuries as a whole, but I've had to sign from my practice squad. There's also game planning that can influence the actual games, commentary and on-screen graphics doing a better job to make you feel a part of the league instead of just isolated as a team. And there's big moments, making decisions, and they don't always pay off the way you would hope as far as acknowledging them inside of the games. But I always feel obligated to say anyways, Madden offers the best and really the only complete online franchise experience in sports gaming, and that's always going to be noteworthy as long as it's true. Now on to Ultimate Team, where those people who are into Ultimate Team, they're going to find a ton to do here. I continue to think Ultimate Team is going to reach a point where it's so bloated that it loses much of its appeal, and we may even be there right now for some people. It's a mess of menus. Anyone new really wouldn't have a great idea of what direction they should go with it in order to progress their team in the best way possible. I mean, there's head-to-head, there's solo challenges, there's salary cap, there's draft champions, and a whole mess of other stuff to dig into that all ties into this Ultimate Team. It's just overwhelming. But there are a lot of people who love it, and that's great. They've got quicker challenges. And one issue with that, though, is the load times. They're getting annoying going in and out of them because the challenges are so brief. A new chemistry system is in place. There's an event structure. The trade block is back. And now there's alternate uniforms. Unfortunately, there's still no ability to create custom uniforms for Ultimate Team or the also popular Draft Champions, which returns from last year. These are modes that essentially are updated year-round, so it's going to be tough to render any judgment on them on how they're going to hold up long-term. So now what is missing from Madden? I see things like the ability to assign a quarterback to follow a wide receiver around the field, a story mode, which seems like a natural step to take now that 2K and FIFA are doing them, differentiation in crowds and how a home field advantage affects games, a halftime show that maybe instead features highlights around the league, because I don't need to see my own highlights again. Upgrade the sidelines, better celebrations from players. It's really sad seeing them celebrate an INT or touchdown by themselves, dancing or whatever it might be, while their teammates just walk off the field. More storylines to follow while seasons progress in franchise, maybe kickers for draft champions, and of course surprise onside kicks. An update to blocking on kick and punt returns, which is one aspect of special teams that wasn't addressed this year. That it's these type of things that I'm noticing and noting rather than fundamental aspects of gameplay, reaching acceptable presentation, or the depth of modes. I think that says a lot about how far the series has come. For Madden NFL 17, EA Sports largely avoided gimmicks and instead put their efforts into the areas of the game that actually matter. They stuck with what paid off last year, things like penalties and quarterback accuracy playing a role, even though they maybe weren't 100% popular with a more casual crowd. Hopefully the decisions that EA made are going to be recognized and rewarded. There's still a lot Madden can do to get better, of course, but this could be the year that's looked back upon as the real turning point for the series. Thank you for watching this video review. Check out the full written review on Sporting News and PastaPadre.com, and follow me on Twitter @PastaPadre.